Excellencies, distinguished delegates, good morning. We will be getting underway shortly. Our special guests will be making their way to the room. Can I please ask all the delegates to please kindly begin to take your seats? They left the room? They left the room. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, very good morning. Welcome to the 80th session of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, please join me in welcoming our special guest this morning, His Excellency Mr. Seta Thabasin, Prime Minister of Thailand, His Excellency Mr. Murat Nurtlu, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Her Excellency Ms. Batseteg Batmunk, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, Her Excellency Ms. Fikita Moeloa Katoa Utoi Kamanu, the Minister of Meteorology, Energy, Information, Disaster Management, Environment, Climate Change, and Communications from Tonga, and the Chair of the 79th session of the Commission, and Ms. Armida Salcia Alisjabana, the Undersecretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of ESCAP. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, at this time, we will begin the opening ceremony with a video of the traditional flag parade of the members and associate members of the Commission. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, may I now request Her Excellency Ms. Fikita Moeloa, Katoa Utoi Kamanu, Minister of Meteorology, Energy, Information, Disaster Management, Environment, Climate Change and Communications of Tonga, and the Chair of the 79th session of the Commission to preside over the meeting. Madam, you have the floor.
Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, the meeting is called to order. It is an honor and privilege for me to join you today to preside over the closing of the 79th session of the Commission. Before we move into today's agenda, please allow me to say a few words about the past year in the work of the Commission. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the 79th session of the Commission that comes to an end today was guided by the theme Accelerating Climate Action in Asia and the Pacific for Sustainable Development. In this context, the Commission adopted a resolution to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts and recommitted to immediately curb greenhouse gas emissions. Countries in the region put forward their determination to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all through the adoption of the Ministerial Declaration on building a secure, sustainable, and interconnected energy future for Asia and the Pacific at the 3rd Asian and Pacific Energy Forum. At the 7th Asia and Pacific Population Conference, countries provided inputs from the Asia-Pacific region to the global review of the status of implementation of the Program of Action of the International Conference on Population and Development that will be held at the 57th session of the Commission on the Population and Development in May 2024. To improve resilience of the region to disaster risk, the 8th session of the Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction recommended that further work be undertaken to develop a regional strategy to support the achievement of early warnings for all by 2027. Lastly, the 4th session of the Committee on Macroeconomic Policy, Poverty Reduction, and Financing for Development highlighted the need for and the policy implications of a long-term public debt sustainability analysis that takes into consideration investments in the Sustainable Development Goals and in climate action. As we get closer to 2030, the Asia and Pacific region still face a multitude of challenges, including the worsening impacts of climate change and the lasting socio-economic effects of the coronavirus disease pandemic, making progress towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals increasingly critical. The theme of this year's Commission session serves as a reminder of how our region is uniquely placed to leverage digital technologies to overcome sustainable development challenges. I look forward to our deliberations this year. Thank you for your attention. Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, it's now my pleasure to conduct the election of officers for the 80th session of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. In line with its rules of procedure, the Commission will elect from among its members a chair and 2 vice chairs. However, if the plenary so decides, the rule may be applied differently today for the 80th session to elect a chair and 7 vice chairs of the session. Before we proceed with the election of the Bureau, I would like to express my deep appreciation to the chair of the Working Group on Draft Resolution, Ms. Julia Finney, Minister and Deputy Head of Mission and Permanent Representative of Australia to ESCAP, and the Vice Chair, Ms. Kataleva Patomors, Deputy Director General and Deputy Permanent Representative of Thailand to ESCAP, for guiding the deliberations of the Working Group to a successful conclusion. As delegates may be aware, the Commission at its 75th session decided that its chair shall rotate among the 5 sub-regions of the Commission. This year, it is the turn of East Asia. Therefore, I have the great honor to propose Her Excellency Ms. Betsek Batmuk, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, as chair of the 80th session of the Commission. If there is no objection, it is so decided. It is my great pleasure then to declare Her Excellency Ms. Betsek Batmuk, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, duly elected as the chair of the 80th session of the Commission. For the positions of vice chairs of the session, I have the pleasure of proposing the following officials: His Excellency Mr. Sunit Ahmed Palak, State Minister, Ministry of Posts, Telecommunications and Information Technology of Bangladesh. His Excellency Mr. Lai Tuch, Senior Minister, President of National Committee for ESCAP and First Vice President of Cambodia Mine Action and Victim Assistance, Cambodia. Her Excellency Mrs. Lenora Gerekere Tambua, Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Fiji. His Excellency Mr. Aman Isetov, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative of Kazakhstan to ESCAP. His Excellency Mr. Ivan John Yu, Secretary for Information and Communication Technology of the Philippines. Her Excellency Mr. Cologne, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Sri Lanka to ESCAP, and Her Excellency Ms. Pinsuda Jayanama, Director General, Department of International Organizations, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Permanent Representative of Thailand to ESCAP. I'm sure that the distinguished delegates whom I have proposed will discharge their duties efficiently for the successful deliberations of the session. If there is no objection, it is so decided. Please join me in congratulating the newly elected chair and vice chairs. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, it is now my honor to invite Her Excellency Ms. Betsek Batmuk, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, the chair of the 80th session, to conduct the meeting from this point onward.
Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, I thank you all for the confidence placed in me and the great honor that you have bestowed on my country and on me. Together with the Honorable Vice Chairs and with the support of the ESCAP Secretariat, I shall endeavor to discharge the responsibilities of serving as your chair to the very best of my abilities. Please allow me to say a few words. Thank you. Madam Executive Secretary, heads of states, heads of government, excellencies, distinguished guests. It is an honor to accept the chair of this 80th Commission session during these challenging times in Asia and the Pacific, where progress toward many of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals has been startlingly slow. By 2030, if things continue as they are, the region won't have made nearly as much progress as is required. Still in 2023, the Asia-Pacific region accounted for 64% of the growth in the global economy, demonstrating its continued significant contribution to the global economy, demonstrating its and it's anticipated that 2024 will witness increased GDP growth and decreased inflation, demonstrating the region's economic resilience. At the same time, there are worries about the rise in inequality and poverty, as the high cost of living disproportionately affects the impoverished and low-class populations and exacerbates economic disparities. Megatrends like population shifts, climate change, and rapid technological advancements are setting the stage for difficult socioeconomic conditions. These megatrends present opportunities as well as challenges, and they will probably have an impact on government budgetary positions as well as how policies are created and carried out. Simultaneously, there is growing recognition that the previous decades' restricted policy focus on economic growth has resulted in environmental deterioration and exacerbated socioeconomic inequality. The good news is that as long as enabling policies and regulatory frameworks are in place, digital innovations have the potential to significantly contribute to making a meaningful course correction. Digitally driven innovations that could speed up sustainable development find fertile ground in Asia and the Pacific. The region's progress toward the 2030 agenda could be accelerated by innovations in cognitive digital technologies, digital finance, government technology, and the Internet of Things. The socio-demographic makeup of the area, the digitally literate young people, the capacity to take advantage of economies of scale, and the quickly growing availability of digital infrastructure all offer favorable conditions for the continued development of digital innovation. Distinguished delegates, as we stand at the intersection of technological advancement and environmental stewardship, we must harness the power of digital innovation to address the pressing challenges of our time and pave the way for a more sustainable future. Digital innovations developed in the region offer great opportunities to drive sustainable development across various sectors, from energy and transportation to agriculture and healthcare. Smart transportation solutions such as electric vehicles, ride-sharing platforms, and autonomous vehicles can transform urban mobility and promote sustainable urban development. In agriculture, digital technologies offer farmers the tools they need to increase productivity while minimizing environmental impact. Furthermore, digital innovation has the potential to revolutionize healthcare delivery, particularly in remote and underserved areas. However, in our pursuit of sustainable development through digital innovation, we must be mindful of the challenges that lie ahead. Issues such as digital divide, data privacy, and cybersecurity must be addressed to ensure that the benefits of technology are accessible to all and that our digital infrastructure is resilient and secure. This is why the deliberations of the 80th session of the Commission are so critical for the region. ESCAP, as the most inclusive intergovernmental platform in the region, can and must foster strategic cooperation to leverage the link between digital innovation and sustainable development for sharing the best practices and technologies to ensure a real digital transition. Especially, there is a need for synergies between transport, energy, and digital connectivity initiatives for countries with special needs, such as landlocked developing countries, which face serious constraints in their socioeconomic development endeavors in terms of integration into international trade and transit transportation. In this regard, we strongly urge the development partners and other stakeholders to pay special attention to accelerating digitalization and providing concrete and substantial support to the needs of the countries with special needs. In June 2024, the LLDCs will review the implementation of the Vienna Programme of Action for Landlocked Developing Countries for the decade 2014 to 2024. Thus, despite some tangible achievements in all 6 priority areas indicated in the Programme of Action, including fundamental transit policies, infrastructure development and maintenance, international trade and trade facilitation, regional integration and cooperation, structural economic transformation, and means of implementation, the LLDCs needs to further accelerate the action to achieve the program's objectives as well as those of the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. We believe that there must be more focus on addressing the special challenges associated with landlockedness to ensure that LLDCs are not left behind. Dear friends, as we address the many issues we face and the steep road leading us to 2030 landmark, our dedication and cooperation must grow even more. During 2023 SDG Summit, the international community resolved to respond to the United Nations Secretary General calling for solidarity between people, countries, and generations, and a corresponding renewal of the multilateral system to accelerate implementation of existing commitments and fill gaps in global governance that have emerged since 2015. The summit of the future of this coming September is once in a generation opportunity to take these steps and commit through a new pact of the future to a series of action-oriented directions, including science, technology, innovation, and digital cooperation. Let there be no doubt that if we want to achieve lasting results across the SDGs and within a very compressed time frame, we must bolster and accelerate technological and digital cooperation at the international and regional level. I sincerely hope that this Commission session will help build a more resilient, equitable, and sustainable future for generations to come. I thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, it is now my honor to invite His Excellency Mr. Sieta Tevisin, Prime Minister of Thailand, to deliver special remarks and welcome address on behalf of the host government. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Madam Chairperson, Madam Executive Secretary, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, on behalf of the Royal Thai Government I am honored to preside over the opening of the 80th session of the Commission under the theme Leveraging Digital Innovation for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific. Allow me also to take this opportunity to extend a very warm welcome to all distinguished delegates. As host country of ESCAP, Thailand takes great pride in being regional home to more than 5,000 UN personnel and representatives. This is a testament to Thailand's long-standing commitment to international cooperation. Distinguished delegates, the theme of this year's Commission is both timely and relevant. During my attendance at the SDG Summit and the UN General Assembly in New York last year, I was impressed by the collective efforts of the UN and its member countries, the dedication and the proactive measures displayed on both occasions should steer us towards getting back on track to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. With only 6 years remaining until 2030, global commitments and actions are required to achieve a prosperous future for all. Asia and the Pacific is a vibrant and dynamic region. Yet, at the current pace, our region will not achieve the SDGs until 2062. The future is calling for us to find innovative ways to bring about sustainable development and to do so in an urgent manner. We need transformative change, and digital innovation has become a vital tool for us all to achieve the change. It can help us do things faster, cheaper, and better. At the same time, we must ensure that digital innovations benefits all and truly contribute towards sustainable development. To fully realize the potential of digital innovation, Thailand wishes to propose two approaches as follows. First, we need to empower people and communities through digital transformation. We have to ensure that digital innovation is people-centric and inclusive. Along these lines, my government has recently launched the Ignite Thailand initiative, focusing on 8 key areas such as digital economy, future mobility, financial technology, wellness and medical technologies. Success in all these areas will depend largely on digital innovation. Ignite Thailand also places great importance on fostering digital literacy and inclusion among vulnerable groups. It aims to empower people and communities and drive sustainable goals. For many agricultural-based countries in the Asia-Pacific region, including Thailand, digital transformation is critical to ensure food security for all. We need to leverage digital technologies to promote agricultural innovations. This will help to ensure a sustainable food system, climate-smart farming, and environmental sustainability. Second, we need to safeguard against risks. While embracing digital innovation, we must identify and mitigate its related risks and negative impacts. This includes addressing cybersecurity threats, bridging the digital divide, and working towards a strong framework for cooperation to ensure a safe, secure, and equitable digital future for all. In the digital era, the role of ESCAP is more crucial than ever, as ESCAP is actively engaging stakeholders in the integration of digital technologies to foster sustainable development. There is still more room to amplify these efforts further. Thailand acknowledges this opportunity and stands ready to bolster support, ensuring that our collective actions make a significant impact on the ground. Member states and associated members must also exchange knowledge and best practices in order to narrow the digital divide and bring about sustainable development at a faster pace. Moreover, the role of the other stakeholders, in particular the private sector, must also be actively involved. Therefore, the Commission session does provide an excellent opportunity to promote regional cooperation through digital innovation to achieve the SDGs. I believe we have a wide range of interesting ideas to share with one another. However, the challenge is how to translate them into practical policies and real actions at the national and the regional levels. The outcome of this meeting will provide useful inputs to the high-level political forum and the summit of the future, as well as Global Digital Compact, which will be held later this year. In closing, I firmly believe that together we can realize our common aspiration of a digital empowered future. Thailand stands ready to collaborate with ESCAP members countries towards this goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Prime Minister. Excellencies, the distinguished delegates, understand the Secretariat has made arrangements for a group photo of heads of delegation. May I request the Master of Ceremony to provide the necessary instructions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As she had just announced, we will be proceeding to the official group photo. At first, it is my pleasure to invite the following delegates to come to the stage, escorted by ESCAP protocol. First, may I invite the chair of the 80th session to the front. Next, it is my pleasure to invite the Prime Minister of Thailand to the stage. May I kindly invite the Deputy Prime Minister of Kazakhstan to join the delegates? And finally, I'd like to invite the chair of the 79th session of the Commission to join the photo. Can I ask you all to please to direct your attention to the middle of the room? At the top of the photo cluster is our photographer, the official ESCAP photographer, Corey. Okay, many thanks to this first batch. Please, may I ask you to please stay. We'll have a second round for everybody else. Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to invite all the heads of delegation to the stage, escorted by your liaison officers. Of course. All right, everybody. Please, we will be taking 2 rounds of photographs this time. First, please direct your attention to the middle, the very tall man in the middle. Please follow his instructions. Corey, you're good? The right side of the stage, could you please move towards the middle? All right. Okay, what? Please, one more photograph, one more photograph. Please direct your attention to the top of the room. We will be taking a second photograph there. You have the photographer at the top of the room. Suwat? Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, attention please. The Secretariat has prepared a short video on the theme of this session, leveraging digital innovation for sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific. May I invite the conference room officer to play the video. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, His Excellency Mr. Denis Francis, President of the 78th session of the General Assembly, has recorded a message to the Commission. May I invite the conference room officer to play the video?
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am grateful to the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific for this opportunity to join you, albeit virtually, to offer some opening remarks as prelude to your important discussions on the critical subject of leveraging digital innovations for sustainable development in the Asia-Pacific region. As technology and digital progress advance rapidly, it is imperative that we keep pace with these innovations and maximize on ways to utilize the new digital tools at our disposal to achieve sustainable development. Consistent with the core principle of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development of leaving no one behind, our strategies should be designed to address the challenges peculiar to the countries in each region of the world. The Asia-Pacific region is incredibly diverse, encompassing a variety of ethnicities, religions, and languages spread across islands, archipelagos, mountainous steppes, vast floodplains, coastal states, and landlocked countries. It is, therefore, your collective duty as countries in the region to ensure that the 2030 Agenda benefits everyone, everywhere. Excellencies, digital inclusivity is paramount in these efforts. However, significant disparities remain across the Asia-Pacific. For instance, there is a pronounced urban-rural divide in access to essential technological benefits, with 80% of the urban population being online compared to only 52% of rural populations. There is also a gender gap, with 63% of women using the internet compared to 69% of men. Furthermore, while 75% of the region's inhabitants use mobile phones, 25% are without access to such technology. In today's world, access to smartphones and digital connectivity can no longer remain luxuries for a few, but necessities, in fact tools, for all. This is particularly true at this time when, if properly regulated, rapid advancements in artificial intelligence and communication technologies are reshaping the already dynamic global economic landscape. Closing these divides, these digital divides, is therefore crucial. In this endeavor, we must also be highly vigilant about the risks associated with new digital technologies. While enhancing cybersecurity is essential, we must also address the potential macroeconomic disruptions due, among other things, to increasing job automation. It is vital to reskill and upskill the labor force and upcoming generations to ensure they can prosper in this new era of technological progress. Additionally, we must consider the environmental impacts of technological developments. Currently, digital devices, the internet, and their supporting infrastructure account for 2% of the global carbon footprint. Innovation must be sustainable, aiming to mitigate or reverse adverse environmental effects. Excellencies, as I close, I wish to share with you that during Sustainability Week, which I convened from April 15th to 19th, it was emphasized that we are significantly off track in our journey to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Throughout the week's discussions, the potential power of cutting-edge technologies and digital innovations was frequently highlighted as a strategy to compensate for lost time and drive progress across the SDGs. Building on these conversations, I trust that the insights and momentum generated at this 80th ESCAP session will inform initiatives beyond the Asia-Pacific region and influence other upcoming regional conferences. Furthermore, I encourage the members of ESCAP to actively pursue the Asia-Pacific Superhighway Initiative. This initiative, which ESCAP is leading, promotes multi-stakeholder cooperation to enhance digital connectivity across the region. Its aim is to bridge the digital divide and drive digital transformation, ensuring inclusive access to technology. I also hope these efforts will cumulatively contribute to the success of the Summit of the Future in September. Let us move forward with resolve to ensure that everyone, everywhere, can affordably access the benefits of digital innovation. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I'm pleased to now invite the Executive Secretary, Ms. Armida Salsiach Alice Jabana, to deliver her welcome and policy statement.
Excellency Ms. Batsetek Batmung, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia and Chair of the 80th Session, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, it is my honor to welcome you to the opening of the 80th Session of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. On behalf of the Secretariat, I would like to express our deepest appreciation to the Royal Thai government for its unwavering support of our Commission over the decades. Excellencies, our region today faces economic, environmental, and social risk of unseen complexity and uncertainty. Strategic competition has reshaped trade, finance, and technology flows, as well as economic cooperation in Asia and the Pacific. Climate change remains our most defining challenge, with last year the warmest on record. Its steady onset with impacts on agriculture, health, and human settlements has profoundly affected our lives. A demographic shift is taking place in countries where the labor force has yet to peak. Reaping the demographic dividend calls for investment in education, health, and youth employment. As the population slowly ages, we must then refocus our policies towards those fostering greater technological change while providing social protection and fiscal stability. These interconnected risks transcend borders. They also lie beyond the ability of each country to single-handedly address. Excellencies, we likewise stand at a critical juncture to deliver on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development as the pivotal point to build peace and shared prosperity. With limited progress made towards meeting the targets of the 2030 Agenda, implementation remains uneven. If opportunities continue to elude women, youth, and persons with disabilities, inequities will continue to grow. Special attention will also need to be given to the least developed countries, landlocked developing countries, and small island developing states as they concurrently attempt to overcome their structural and geographic constraints. Despite these convergences, our region has remained remarkably resilient and resourceful as it continues to innovate. The Bangkok Declaration, adopted 2 years ago, to commemorate the 75th anniversary of our Commission, recognized the need for a common agenda to advance sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific. It noted the extraordinary progress made in the region to lift millions out of poverty and establish some of the world's most dynamic economies since 1947 in the spirit of unity, solidarity, multilateralism, and international cooperation. It also reaffirmed our commitment to the full implementation of the 2030 Agenda. Excellencies, the theme of our session this year is leveraging digital innovation for sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific. The 2030 Agenda recognizes the potential of information and communication technology and global interconnectedness to accelerate human progress, to bridge the digital divide, and to develop knowledge societies. It also recognizes technology, together with finance, trade, and capacity building, as a means to the implementation of the 2030 Agenda, and innovation as one of the major drivers of productivity, inclusive economic growth, and job creation. As our region propels the global economy, innovation resulting from digital transformation is especially critical. Merchandise trade within Asia and the Pacific comprises 60% of global trade, an increase from 40% only 3 decades ago. As digital integration drives the post-pandemic recovery, the digital economy is expected to generate an additional $1 trillion by 2025 in Southeast Asia alone. The region is now a hub for digital innovation. In the finance sector, the value of digital transaction is projected to reach $6.7 trillion by 2026. Digital finance has improved access to banking and insurance, especially for women, micro-enterprises, as well as people in remote and marginalized communities. Smart city technologies are transforming urban development. Intelligent infrastructure linked with the Internet of Things optimizes resource management, promotes energy efficiency, and strengthens the circular economy through improved use of information and less materials. Digital government platforms are likewise enabling public services to reach all citizens more effectively and efficiently. Improved climate adaptive capacity and disaster resilience have made us more prepared for unforeseen crises. Digital innovation, including artificial intelligence or AI, that integrates analysis of both ground and geospatial big data, is revolutionizing early warning system. It is now possible not only to forecast typhoon tracks with pinpoint accuracy, but also to provide timely information on their anticipated impacts. Fatalities have consequently decreased significantly despite the increasing frequency and severity of weather events. Excellencies, given this backdrop, allow me to highlight 3 policy issues that we must now focus on to ensure sustainable development. It is essential to have inclusive policies. Government spending must target persistent inequalities, gaps, and divides, be they income, gender, or digital, and prepare us for the emerging demographic shifts. Improve quality and access to healthcare, education, and social protection that directly benefit marginalized and vulnerable populations are key. It is necessary to have improved financing. This requires more effective mobilization of public revenue through the digital transformation of tax administration with enhanced analytics and data management capabilities, efforts to allocate resources more efficiently, and in the process, catalyze climate action are concurrently needed. The international community could, in parallel, also consider increasing the availability of affordable long-term financing to developing countries. Regional cooperation is imperative to accelerate digital innovation for sustainable development. With this in mind, the Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference on Digital Inclusion and Transformation, to be held in September of this year in Kazakhstan, will consider a blueprint for such cooperation. As we move forward, we must embrace emerging digital innovation platforms, cultivate competencies necessary for a holistic understanding of digital ecosystem and harmonized policy, legislative, and regulatory framework. Intelligently deployed and properly governed digital solutions based on common understanding, shared approaches, and collaborative governance form the foundations for the collective push necessary for the attainment of the 2030 agenda. This is the opportunity in front of us. I wish you a very successful Commission session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Executive Secretary. Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, we will now move to agenda item 1B, adoption of the agenda. The provisional agenda for the 80th session of the Commission is contained in document ESCAP/80/1. Does any delegation have any comments on the agenda? I see none. May I propose to the Commission that the provisional agendas contained in document ESCAP 80/80/1 be adopted? So the agenda is adopted. I recognize the distinguished delegate. Oh no, this. Distinguished delegates, in order to facilitate the conduct of the session, I now turn to the matter of statements in exercise of the right of reply during the meetings of the Commission. In line with Rule 46 of the Rules of Procedure and Practice of the parent body of the Commission, that Economic and Social Council, I propose that in exercising their rights of reply, delegations should be as brief as possible and deliver their statements at the end of the meetings at which be right is requested, or at the end of the day whenever two meetings have been scheduled for that day to consider the same item. I further propose that the number of interventions and exercise of the right of reply for any delegation at a given meeting should be limited to 2 per item, with the first intervention limited to 3 minutes and the second, if any, to 2 minutes. I hear no objection. The Commission will proceed accordingly. So, delegations wishing to exercise the right of reply are kindly requested to inform the Secretariat staff located to the right next to the podium. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, in an era of rapid digital transformation, Asia and the Pacific is unequally placed to leverage digital technologies to overcome sustainable development challenges. But strengthening regional cooperation will be required to make this happen. In this connection, it is now my pleasure to invite heads of state and government of ESCAP member states to share their vision and recommendations for regional cooperation priorities to leverage digital innovation in our region. First, may I invite the conference room officer to play the message from His Excellency Mr. Saneksai Sifandon, Prime Minister of the Lao People's Democratic Republic and Chair of ASEAN for 2024.
นางอามิดาซาซิอาอลิสจาบานาเลขาธิการ บริหารงานคณะกรรมาธิการเศรษฐกิจสังคมสหประชาชาติประจำภาคพื้นอาเซียนแปซิฟิกท่านประธานกองประชุมประธานผู้แทนกองประชุมที่มีเกียรติท่านยิ่งท่านทรายที่นับถือก่อนอื่นเบิดข้าพเจ้าขอต่างหน้ารัฐบาลแห่งสาธารณรัฐประชาธิปไตยประชาชนลาวแสดงความคำนับสมเสยต่อกองประชุมกรรมาธิการเศรษฐกิจสังคมสหประชาชาติประจำภาคพื้นอาเซียนแปซิฟิกสมัยที่80ภายใต้คำขวัญการนำใส่นวัตกรรมด้านดิจิทัลเพื่อผลักดันการพัฒนาแบบยืนยงในภาคพื้นอาเซียนแปซิฟิกซึ่งถือเป็นหัวข้อที่สำคัญหลายและสอดคล้องกับยุคสมัยปัจจุบันในการเร่งรัดการจัดตั้งปฏิบัติวาระการพัฒนาของสากลก็คือการแก้ไขปัญหาสิ่งท้าทายต่อการพัฒนาประเทศในระดับประเทศภาคพื้นและสากลประธานที่นับถือตลอดระยะเกือบ8 ทศวรรษที่ผ่านมา ESCAP ได้มีบทบาทสำคัญยิ่งในการซุกยู่ส่งเสริมการร่วมมือเพื่อการพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจสังคมอยู่ภาคพื้นอาเซียนแปซิฟิกโดยได้ขยายขอบเขตการร่วมมือเป็นเก่าๆมานับจากการฟื้นฟูภายหลังสงครามโลกครั้งที่2จนไปถึงการแก้ไขปัญหาความทุกข์ยากการส่งเสริมด้านการค้าและการลงทุนการพัฒนาตารางคมนาคมขนส่งการพัฒนาสังคมการปกปักรักษาสิ่งแวดล้อมการแก้ไขปัญหาการเปลี่ยนแปลงดินฟ้าอากาศและอื่นๆสปป.ลาวเห็นว่า ESCAP เป็นวิธีระหว่างรัฐบาลที่สำคัญในการปรึกษาหารือและแลกเปลี่ยนบทเรียนประสบการณ์นโยบายยุทธศาสตร์การพัฒนาในระดับภาคพื้นและมีบทบาทสำคัญในการสร้างขีดความสามารถและสนับสนุนด้านเทคนิควิชาการเพื่อช่วยประเทศสมาชิกรวมทั้งสปป.ลาวในการจัดตั้งปฏิบัติแผนพัฒนาแห่งชาติและวาระการพัฒนาของสากลรวมทั้งความมุ่งมั่นในการแก้ไขความทุกข์ยากของประชาชนบรรดาเผ่าและการพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจสีเขียวให้ขยายตัวต่อเนื่องและทั่วถึงกันเพื่อก้าวไปสู่การหลุดพ้นออกจากสถานภาพประเทศด้อยพัฒนาในปี 2026 ก็คือการหันจากประเทศที่บ่มีชายแดนติดกับทะเลไปสู่การเป็นประเทศเสื่อมจอดประธานที่นับถืออิงตามบทรายงานของสหประชาชาติการจัดตั้งปฏิบัติเป้าหมายการพัฒนาแบบยืนยงของสากลสามารถบรรลุได้เพียง 15 ส่วนห้อยเท่านั้นฉะนั้นการนำใส่เทคโนโลยีนวัตกรรมดิจิทัลที่ทันสมัยจะเป็นเครื่องมืออันสำคัญที่สุดในการเร่งรัดการจัดตั้งปฏิบัติเป้าหมายการพัฒนาแบบยืนยงภายในประเทศของตนแต่นี้หาปี 2030 ด้วยเหตุนั้นรัฐบาลสปป.ลาวจึงได้รับห้องวิสัยทัศน์การพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลแห่งชาติระยะ20 ปี 2021-2040 ยุทธศาสตร์การพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลแห่งชาติระยะ 10 ปี 2021-2030 และแผนพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัลแห่งชาติระยะ 5 ปี 2021-2025 ซึ่งกระบวนการหันเป็นดิจิทัลของสปป.ลาวแม้นติดพันกับแผนพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจสังคมแห่งชาติในแต่ละระยะเพื่อสร้างการหันเปลี่ยนการพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจสังคมไปสู่คุณภาพใหม่อย่างแข็งแรงโดยให้มีความสมดุลระหว่างการพัฒนาแบบยืนยงและสีเขียวการหันเป็นดิจิทัลของสปป.ลาวประกอบด้วย3เสาค้ำคือ 1. การพัฒนารัฐบาลดิจิทัล 2. การพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจดิจิทัล 3. การพัฒนาสังคมดิจิทัลโดยเน้นใส่การพัฒนาทรัพยากรมนุษย์ที่มีคุณภาพสูงสร้างพื้นฐานโครงสร้าง ICT ที่ทันสมัยปกปักรักษาสิ่งแวดล้อมและรับประกันความปลอดภัยทางไซเบอร์ที่หนักแน่นเพื่อสามารถจัดตั้งปฏิบัติแผนยุทธศาสตร์ดังกล่าวข้างถึงนั้นสปป.ลาวจำเป็นต้องสร้างบรรดาเงื่อนไขและสิ่งอำนวยความสะดวกภายในประเทศโดยผ่านการเพิ่มทวีการร่วมมือในระดับสากลในภาคพื้นพร้อมทั้งดึงดูดการลงทุนจากต่างประเทศและการถ่ายทอดเทคโนโลยีที่ทันสมัยความรู้และผลสำเร็จใหม่ทางด้านวิทยาศาสตร์เทคโนโลยีนวัตกรรมจากต่างประเทศเข้ามาในประเทศ เพื่อประกอบส่วนเขาในการพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจสังคมของสปปลาวให้นับมือนับดีขึ้นเทื่อละก้าวพระประธานที่นับถือสปปลาวได้มีความหมายมั่นในการจัดตั้งปฏิบัติเป้าหมายการพัฒนาแบบยืนยงโดยผ่านการเสริมสารเป้าหมายและตัวสิบอกเขาในแผนพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจสังคมแห่งชาติบรรดาแผนเวียกบริมสิทธิ์และแผนการของแขนงการต่างๆอย่างต่อเนื่องปัจจุบันสปปลาวกำลังอยู่ในขบวนการกะเกียบหางบทรายงานแห่งชาติแบบสมัครใจฉบับที่ 3 เพื่อเสนอต่อกองประชุมเวทีการเมืองระดับสูงประจำปี 2024 ซึ่งได้ดำเนินการผ่านการปรึกษาหารือกับทุกภาคส่วนที่เกี่ยวข้องรวมทั้งการสนับสนุนด้านวิชาการจากองค์การเครือข่ายสหประชาชาติภายในประเทศและ ESCAP พร้อมนั้นในปี 2024 นี้ยังเป็นปีที่มีความหมายสำคัญหลายสำหรับประเทศลาวซึ่งได้รับเกียรติเป็นประธานกองประชุมสุดยอดอาเซียนภายใต้คำขวัญเพิ่มทวีการเสริมจอดและความเข้มแข็งของอาเซียนและยังเป็นปีท่องเที่ยวลาวอีกด้วยฉะนั้นข้าพเจ้าขอถือโอกาสนี้เสื้อเชิญบรรดาทานเดินทางไปเยี่ยมยามและท่องเที่ยวประเทศของพวกข้าพเจ้ารัฐบาลและประชาชนลาวบรรดาเผ่าเกี่ยมพร้อมและมีความยินดีเป็นอย่างยิ่งที่จะต้อนรับทุกๆท่านในโอกาสดังกล่าวประธานท้ายสุดนี้ข้าพเจ้าขอย้ำความหมายมั่นของสปปลาวในการจัดตั้งปฏิบัติวาระการพัฒนาของสากลโดยเฉพาะเป้าหมายการพัฒนาแบบยืนยงและขอเสนอให้วงคณะญาติสากลจงพร้อมกันสร้างขีดความสามารถให้ประเทศกำลังพัฒนาโดยเฉพาะกลุ่มประเทศที่มีสภาพเงื่อนไขพิเศษในขอบการพัฒนาด้านนวัตกรรมดิจิทัลเพื่อสุขอยู่การพัฒนาแบบยืนยงข้าพเจ้าเชื่อมั่นอย่างยิ่งว่าการส่งเสริมการร่วมมือการพัฒนาประเทศสมาชิกองค์การสหประชาชาติองค์การจัดตั้งสากลจะพร้อมกันปฏิบัติคำขวัญพวกเข้าพร้อมกันกล่าวไปขออวยพรให้กองประชุมใหญ่คณะกรรมาการเศรษฐกิจสังคมสหประชาชาติภาคพื้นอาเซียนแปซิฟิกครั้งนี้จงประสบผลสำเร็จอย่างจบงามขอแสดงความขอบใจ
Thank you. I should play.
So maybe just hold on a second.
Yes, we are waiting for the Prime Minister of Cambodia. Please join me now in welcoming Samdech Moha Borwar Tinadei Hung Monit, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia. It is now my honor to invite the Samdech Moha Borwar Tinadei Hung Monit, the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia, to deliver his special remarks. The floor is yours.
Your Excellency, Batsetsek Batmung, Chair of the 18th Sessions. Sorry. Your Excellencies Amida Sasia Alish Shabana, Under Secretary Generals of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of ESCAP, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Excellency Dr. Amida Sasia Alish Jabana and the entire ESCAP team for organizing this important event, which is a testament to our shared commitment to shaping a brighter future for Asia-Pacific regions. I would like to highly commend ESCAP for your relentless dedications to fostering sustainable development and innovation across our regions. I would like to express my appreciation to Excellency Srettha Thavisin, the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Thailand and the people of Thailand for the warm hospitality. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, digital innovation is crucial to sustainable, inclusive, and resilient developments, especially in addressing inequalities exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as in timely responding to growing emerging needs of our peoples. Through the use of technology, we can narrow the gap in accessing to the opportunities and essential services. In other words, it enables us to redistribute the benefits of the development to all people equally. Like other countries, Cambodia considers digital technology as a critical driver for socioeconomic developments in the context of Industrial Revolution 4.0. On the one hand, it creates new engines of growth and promotes access to essential public services, as well as contributes to building a modern and civilized society, where citizens receive inclusive benefits with reliability and heightened security. And on the other hand, it can help maintain national identity and culture. In this regard, the Royal Government of the 7th Legislative of the National Assembly has adopted the Pentagon Strategy Phase 1, with 5 key priorities, namely people, road, water, electricity, and technology, of which digital technology is a new priority set out in the 5th Strategic Pentagon. Building a digital economy and society. Moreover, the Royal Government has also implemented various policy frameworks, including Digital Economy and Society Policy Framework of Cambodia 2021-2035, Cambodia Digital Government Policy 2022-2035, Cambodia Financial Technology Development Policy 2023 to 2028, and National Policy on Science, Technology, and Innovations 2020 and 2030. These policy frameworks involve all stakeholders in the society, including the government, citizens, private sector, and together contributing to achieving Cambodia's ambition of Cambodia Vision 2050. In global and regional contexts, Cambodia has been proactively engaging in digital policy agenda to achieve global and regional digital development goals, including the ASEAN's Digital Master Plans 2025 and the UN's Digital Strategy 2022-2025. Also, Cambodia has actively involved in other ASEAN's digital initiatives, particularly the preparation of the ASEAN's Digital Economy Framework Agreements, DIFA, a framework aimed to provide a strategic and comprehensive regional approach to promote timely and inclusive digitization in the regions. The implementation of this framework will expand the size of ASEAN digital economy from $1 trillion to $2 trillion by 2030. In addition, ASEAN has already considered digital economy as a priority chapter in various agreements, such as in the ASEAN's Australia-New Zealand Free Trade Area and the ASEAN-China Free Trade Area, ACTA 3.0, and Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP. Indeed, Cambodia, ASEAN, and the Asia-Pacific regions have made significant progress in digitization over the last few years. However, we still face some challenges, including digital gap between countries and between cities and rural areas, the lack of infrastructure and access to quality internet service, the limited level of digital literacy of the people, the lack of adoptions and implementation of digital technology, digital trading and services, cybersecurity, and cybercrimes. These challenges have hampered abilities of countries to realize full growth potential of their economies. In addition, war, conflicts, and remnant of war also present obstacles for some countries to fully embrace digital technology as an engine for growth. In this regard, for the case of Cambodia, the issue of demining and removal of explosive remnants of war remains as an obstacle for overall development, including the bridging of digital gap and access to quality internet services. Recognizing the necessity of this issue, Mine Action has been embedded as Cambodia's 18th Sustainable Development Goal. Cambodia remained committed to fulfilling its obligation under the Convention on the Prohibitions of the Use, Stockpiling, Production, and Transfer of Anti-Personnel Mines and Destructions of Mines, known as the Ottawa Conventions. As the president of the Ottawa Convention this year, Cambodia presides over and hosts the 5th review conference titled the Siem Reap Angkor Summit on a Mine-Free World, 25-29 November 2024. I call for joint efforts to eliminate these deadly weapons, as well as to support and participate in this historic event. Also, please allow me to take this opportunity to extend my appreciation to ESCAP for assisting Cambodia in drafting a national mine action policy, which is the first time that ESCAP has participated in mine actions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that through this forum, we will be able to collectively address the above challenges, as well as to provide concrete suggestions for the development and implementation of emerging digital technology to promptly respond to the emerging needs of the people in Asia-Pacific regions on the path toward a fully digital economy and society. Finally, I strongly believe that together we will be able to make a difference and create a secure and prosperous future for all. And together, we will be able to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. I wish all ESCAP members great success in this 80th Commission session today. Thank you very much.
So may I invite now the conference room officer to play the message from His Excellency Mr. Ferdinand Marcos Jr., President of the Republic of Philippines.
The Honorable Undersecretary General, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. The importance of this session cannot be overemphasized, especially as the development agenda remains preeminent in the current global context that is facing risks and uncertainties in light of rapid economic, technological, and political transformations. It is now, more than ever, that we need to strengthen digital innovation as it contributes more inclusively to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals across multiple disciplines. We must become champions of digital inclusion, of innovation, interoperability to bridge the digital divide. Since assuming the presidency in 2022, I have prioritized the enhancement of national development and economic prosperity. Central to this vision is the pivotal role of infrastructure and innovation. We recognized very early on that our future lies in the realm of digital transformation. One landmark legislation that captures our vision is the Philippine Innovation Act. This act is aimed at a dynamic and resilient ecosystem, which is grounded in a culture of innovation. Consequently, the Philippine economy witnessed a robust growth of 7.6% in 2022, a rate not seen since 1976, driven by government reforms, high employment levels, and increased investment registration activities. Today, the digital landscape of the Philippines is rapidly evolving. The swift and massive migration of Filipinos to the digital space presents us with a golden opportunity to harness the full potential of digitalization. Our digital transformation plan is anchored in the Philippine Development Plan and the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework. Both these guiding documents revolve around transformation, with digitalization as a cross-cutting strategy, acting as a catalyst for economic, social, institutional, and environmental metamorphosis. During the ceremonial signing of our new cooperation framework with the United Nations in October 2023, I express our unwavering commitment to vigorous engagements on critical issues, notably digital transformation. The synergies between the UN SDCF and the PDP aim to advance an enabling environment for economic transformation, harness the potential of our educated and tech-savvy youth, leverage our openness to trade and investment, and benefit from a stable and sustainable national economy. The aspiration is clear: to evolve into a smart and innovative Philippines that is productive, resilient, sustainable, and inclusive. The vision aligns seamlessly with the Philippine Innovation Act and the initiatives of the National Innovation Council, of which I have the honor of serving as chair. In 2023, the Philippines' commendable performance in the Global Innovation Index rankings by the World Intellectual Property Organization positioned us as an emerging economic power, as well as a regional and global beacon of innovation. Our steady climb in the rankings from 100th place in 2014 to now 56th in 2023 symbolizes our relentless effort to unleash our economic potential and fast-track our trajectory towards upper middle income status. As we continue to sustain our leadership role among middle-income countries, we are pleased to announce the Philippines' hosting of the upcoming high-level meeting among these countries next year. Through initiatives such as our Department of Science and Technology's Science for Change program, in 2021, we launched 10 new research projects under the niche centers in the regions for R&D to focus on priority areas, including health and well-being. Excellencies, the Philippines as a nation is vulnerable to devastating natural hazards and is acutely aware of the multidimensional shocks arising from natural calamities, pandemics, and climate-related disasters. In this context, we emphasize targeted investments to nurture sustainable, resilient, and inclusive systems that focus on agricultural value chains, productive infrastructure, technological transformation, digitalization, and the development of green and blue economies. Our commitment to multilateralism and global solidarity remains unwavering, as we have actually engaged in advancing climate action, disaster risk reduction, and resilience-building efforts across the Asia-Pacific region. I am pleased to reiterate the Philippines' offer to host the board of the historic Loss and Damage Fund. Hosting this board in the Philippines, a country that has first-hand experience of nature's devastating capabilities, will epitomize global commitment to inclusivity and ensure that the voices of the most affected countries shape the most urgent global climate policies. In line with our commitment to multilateralism, we have launched our candidature for a non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council for the term 2027 to 2028. This campaign reflects our dedication to uphold the principles of peace, security, and the well-being of all nations. And so as I end, I express my hope and well wishes for the 80th session of the ESCAP to serve as a testament to the power of innovation and digital transformation in driving sustainable development. I assure you that the Philippines will remain a steadfast partner of multilateralism, regional leadership, and the realization of sustainable development goals. Maraming salamat and thank you.
Thank you. Your Excellency Sheikh Hasina, Honorable Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, was initially planning to join us today, but due to some urgent engagements will not be able to do so, and will deliver special remarks in person on Thursday, 25 April instead. But for this opening segment, she has sent a pre-recorded video message. So now I'm kindly asking the conference room officer to play the message.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Her Excellency Executive Secretary, ESCAP, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to you all. I am happy to virtually join the 80th annual session of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific being held in Bangkok. Madam Chair, this session is taking place at a time when the world is facing multifaceted challenges. While we were recovering from the devastating impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, new challenges like the Russia-Ukraine war have destabilized the world economic order. Every country is struggling with high commodity prices because of production and supply chain disruption. The developing and least developed countries are the worst sufferers. To achieve SDGs, these issues need to be resolved. Bangladesh has demonstrated a strong track record of growth and development. Our per capita income has tripled in the last decade, reaching $2,765 in the 2022-23 fiscal year. We achieved GDP growth over 6% for the last 3 consecutive years. We reduced the poverty rate from 41.5% in 2006 to 18.7% in 2023 and made commendable progress in universal primary education, food security, reduction of maternal and child mortality, gender inequality, women empowerment, etc. The planned development has helped Bangladesh graduate from the LDC category. We have now declared our next vision to become a smart Bangladesh by the year 2041. The Asia and Pacific countries have made good progress in various areas but need to do more. I would like to suggest a few issues for consideration. Number 1, a more inclusive and connected Asia-Pacific region is to be fostered by enhancing e-commerce and digital trade and accelerating IT-enabled services. Number 2, collaboration is to be increased among SCAP members in knowledge sharing, technology transfer, and innovation-driven trade and investment. Number 3, support LDCs and vulnerable nations affected by financial crisis arising out of the COVID-19 pandemic and global conflicts. Number 4, development partners and international organizations must combine and enhance their commitment and support for scaling up disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation measures. Number 5, countries in the region may help each other with early warning system for cyclone, floods, and disasters. I thank you all again.
Thank you. Now, kindly inviting His Excellency Mr. Murat Nurtleo, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kazakhstan, to deliver his special remarks.
Okay, thank you. A little bit of help to the Secretariat. So, Excellencies, distinguished heads of delegations, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset I wish to thank the ESCAP Executive Secretary, Armida Salsia Alice-Jabana, for her outstanding leadership in advancing sustainable development across our region. I would also like to congratulate the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, Her Excellency Batsetsek Batmukh, on being elected as the chair of the current session. Madam Chair, over nearly 8 decades, our organization has positively impacted the lives of 4 billion people across 53 countries in Asia and Pacific. Today, the Commission makes key contributions in economic prosperity, social well-being, and environmental sustainability. And in so doing, it serves the shared interests of all our nations. Madam Chair, the theme of this session, digital innovation, is both timely and crucial. It's time-wise as the current geopolitical tensions, growing protectionist policies, and techno-nationalism are negatively affecting the global economy. It is crucial since we are now standing on the threshold of new digital era. Modern technologies are evolving extremely fast. They are tools for economic growth, but also powerful levers for sustainable development. In Kazakhstan, we believe that digital innovations is the way forward and will fundamentally change the world. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev aims to transform our country into an IT powerhouse. For us, technological development is not a goal in itself, but an effective means to improve the lives of citizens and the business climate. Currently, Kazakhstan ranks 28th globally in providing e-government services and the 8th in the quality of online facilities. The government has automated more than 90% of its public services. We have opened Central Asia's largest IT startup park, Astana Hub, which attracts flagship software developers. Over 900 companies, including Google, Microsoft, Huawei, and many others to be mentioned, are already successfully at work in our market. Kazakh high-tech sector exports have increased tenfold over the last 3 years, and it's expected to reach $1 billion by 2026. Kazakhstan extends an open invitation to our neighbors and partners today to join us in collaboration. We also stand ready to share our experience and expertise with the ESCAP member states. In general, my country is a strong proponent of enabling all states with equal access to modern digital solutions. For our part, the Kazakh National Official Development Agency is actively working with different countries on digital projects in education, healthcare, public services, cybersecurity, space technologies, and other fields. We also intend to further contribute to the ESCAP agenda by hosting its Digital Solutions Center and organizing the Ministerial Conference on Digital Integration this September in Astana. Let us hope that the outcomes of the conference will contribute to the goals and objectives of the Summit of the Future. Ladies and gentlemen, emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data, and machine learning are changing the rules of the game in practically all industries, from agriculture to finance. By next year, the global digital technology market will increase 50% and reach $6.8 trillion. The Asia-Pacific region, encompassing countries with varying levels of technological development, presents unique opportunities for mutually beneficial innovation. Kazakhstan has made significant strides in fintech development by spearheading initiatives like Astana International Financial Center. The center is an incubator for startups and attracts global firms, investments, and talent. The Kazakh government has established a robust digital infrastructure that facilitates the emergence of innovative business models. As the sector continues to expand, we see ample opportunities for closer collaboration among financial centers in the ESCAP region, including Tokyo, Shanghai, Singapore, and others. Madam Chair, connectivity is the lifeblood of contemporary nations and a critical factor for achieving sustainable development goals. At the same time, efficient supply chains require modern digital solutions. As a strategic transport hub at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Middle East, Kazakhstan has invested over $35 billion in developing the Middle Corridor, including via the digital sphere. We are implementing several logistic projects with leading global IT providers. In the meantime, since the ESCAP is the main regional platform for sustainable transport cooperation in Asia-Pacific and a home to numerous landlocked countries, we request the Commission to propose concrete cooperative modalities on international transit and access to seaports. Such a suitable regional transport arrangement could define a set of shared principles and measures for facilitating LDC's access to the global shipping routes. It would also pave the way for more ambitious outcome document on the third United Nations Conference on Landlocked Developing Countries. Dear colleagues and friends, in a nutshell, the emergence of digital technologies in all spheres of life marks a profound global transformation for humanity. In this context, we are concerned by the confluence of a widening digital divide and insufficient progress on the United Nations 2030 agenda. We look, therefore, to the ESCAP to intensify its mandate work to foster unity and prosperity in the Asia-Pacific region. On this 80th anniversary session, Kazakhstan recommits to actively engage with all of you within this unique institution. But this anniversary also represents us with important questions. What can we accomplish together in the next decades? How can we together create a sustainable future based on innovation, equality, and prosperity for all? I look forward to our discussions on these important topics. As we do so, rest assured that Kazakhstan is dedicated to working closely with the ESCAP and all its member states. Together, let us collectively advance meaningful initiatives and partnerships in pursuit of our common goals for peace, security, and sustainable development. I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I would like to thank all heads and deputy heads of state and government for their very inspiring words and recommendations on priority areas for strengthening regional cooperation to leverage digital innovation for sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the theme for this year's session is cross-cutting and has important linkages to other socioeconomic development priorities. In order to unpack the theme, we will have 3 high-level thematic roundtables, 1 today and 2 tomorrow. In order to put the theme of this year's session into context, we will start with the high-level thematic roundtable on socioeconomic outlook, emerging challenges and solutions. I would like to invite the panelists to come to the rostrum and will hand over to the moderator, Ms. Sandy Hanutsaha, news presenter, National Broadcasting Services of Thailand.
Excellencies and distinguished delegates, good morning. I'm Sandra Han Utsaha, and I'm an English news presenter with the National News Bureau of Thailand, and I'm honored to facilitate this morning's roundtable. Asia and the Pacific, the economies accounted for 64% of global GDP growth in 2023. In 2024, steady economic growth and moderating inflation will showcase the region's economic resilience. Nevertheless, subdued job creation, rising poverty and inequalities, higher interest rates and debt servicing burdens, and geopolitical uncertainty are but a few of the macroeconomic conditions unfolding against megatrends such as climate change, demographic shifts, and rapid technological innovations. With policy focused on only economic growth, leading to environmental degradation and socioeconomic disparities, macroeconomic policy objectives must go beyond maximizing GDP and address inequalities as well as environmental concerns. Our roundtable this morning will thus discuss the region's socioeconomic outlook, identify major development challenges and opportunities, and also look at potential policy solutions. Joining us for today's roundtable are 3 distinguished panelists. First, we're happy to have with us Professor Danny Kwa. Professor Kwa is Lee Ka-shing Professor in Economics and Dean at the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy of the National University of Singapore. He serves on the Executive Committee of the International Economics Association and the Advisory Board of LSE Ideas. And he is also the author of The Global Economy's Shifting Center of Gravity. Welcome. We're also happy to have with us Ms. Somarat Jantarat. Ms. Somarat is currently Executive Director at the Boy Ung Pakon Institute for Economic Research. Prior to this, she was a World Bank senior economist consultant and lecturer at the Crawford School of Public Policy at Australian National University. Her research interests include development economics and finance. Welcome, Ms. Somarat. And rounding out our roundtable, we're also delighted to have Mr. Nazim Nordali, Chief Operating Officer of the International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation, or ITFC's Trade Solutions Complex. Mr. Nordali is a pioneer of many innovative Islamic finance solutions and leads teams of multi-skilled professionals to produce landmark deals in Islamic trade finance. In keeping with the overall theme of leveraging digital innovation for sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific, I'm sure you'll agree with me that before our roundtable begins, we need to have some special remarks. So please allow me to invite Ms. Fatima Yasmin, Vice President for Sectors and Themes of the Asian Development Bank, to deliver special remarks.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, good morning to you all. At the outset, I would like to thank ESCAP for organizing this roundtable and inviting me to present the keynote at this regional event as part of your 80th Commission. On behalf of the Asian Development Bank, I am delighted by the opportunity to engage in the discourse on solutions that address the socioeconomic challenges of the region, leveraging digital innovation for sustainable development. Let me start with multifaceted challenges of the region. Asia has made good progress in improving living conditions, such as in increasing food security, reducing the prevalence of malnutrition, and related improvements in the health and well-being. However, several concomitant challenges, a polycrisis, have set back development progress made over past 60 years. The COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and extreme weather condition, international conflicts, and the resulting stresses on trade and fiscal regime risk, stalling the progress made on the SDGs. The Asia and the Pacific region is the most disaster-prone and is extremely vulnerable to climate change. Between 2015 to 2022, climate-related natural disasters affected 800 million people and caused 400 billion in losses, having devastating impacts, especially for the vulnerable communities. As the world is transitioning towards an increasingly digitalized economy, policymakers face a new form of inequality, the digital divide. In developing economies, digital divide has been an impediment for poverty reduction. To counter this aggravating curse, ensuring equitable access to data and digital technologies has become a top priority mandate. The increased cost of living crisis has aggravated the pandemic's reversal of poverty reduction, as higher cost of living have hit the economically vulnerable groups the hardest. ADB research suggests that even without the increased cost of living, economically vulnerable groups face a poverty premium or penalty as they end up paying higher prices to avail the various types of goods and services. Combined with other crises such as corona pandemic, the rising cost of living, exacerbated the socioeconomic impact Current global and regional policies do not adequately support the integration of priorities such as poverty, climate, food and energy security, education and digitalization, etc. However, one good indication is that the region is economically recovering. In 2023, Asia growth momentum continued, driven by strong consumption and investment, which further accelerated during the second half of the year 2023. However, the level of growth varied across sub-regions and even within countries. For example, South Asia demonstrated robust economic growth at 6.4%, while the Pacific region experienced a comparatively lower growth of 3.5%. While the region's overall growth momentum is the top priority, but ensuring an equitable recovery within the countries is of paramount importance. Now I will focus on reforms and recommendations to build resilience amidst polycrisis. There is a need to mobilize far greater resource and galvanize efforts of the development community if we are to eradicate poverty and reduce inequalities in the Asia-Pacific region. There are multitude of solutions to address this crisis. However, I wish to focus on three areas: digitalization or digital transformation, climate poverty nexus, and financing for development. The COVID-19 pandemic transformed communications with schools, government, healthcare providers, and businesses, transitioning to online service deliveries and digital interactions. Digital technologies serve as an essential tool for socioeconomic advancement and empowerment. However, policymakers in Asia and the Pacific are faced with a new form of inequality, the digital divide, as access to digital services and technologies is not always equitable. Group Spatial Mobile Association, GSMA, estimates that 96% of the region's population live within reach of mobile data networks, but only 47% were connected by the end of 2022. Many developing member countries find it difficult to afford access to mobile data. Working towards equitable access to telecommunication services is an important step towards reducing digital divide and poverty. Moreover, access to equitable connectivity, including affordable mobile data, is critical to gender equality, social inclusion, and economic opportunities. There is an immediate need to tackle poverty and hunger through the climate lens. This includes prioritizing the development of climate-resilient social protection system that effectively target the most climate-vulnerable groups, including women. In addition, action on climate change will be an important source of new jobs in adaptation-related activities such as reforestation, biodiversity conservation, and disaster risk reduction. This just transition towards a green economy provides young people with opportunities to find innovative business solutions and become eco-entrepreneurs. We need to ensure that the issue of just transition and decent work go hand in hand. Domestic resource mobilization is important in achieving the SDGs for greener and more inclusive future. It requires vast amount of public spending adequate tax revenues that are efficiently spent in the critical element of domestic resource mobilization and central to domestic and international development efforts. Having the experience of spearheading comprehensive financial reforms at a national level in my earlier profession during the pandemic, I am keenly aware of how enhanced domestic resource mobilization can catalyze progress on service delivery for SDGs. Restoring fiscal sustainability after COVID-19 has heightened the urgency of fiscal resource mobilization, including private sector resources. To meet the Sustainable Development Goal by 2030, the vast resources of the private sector need to be mobilized to augment development finance. ADB employs a wide range of mechanisms to mobilize and channel finance for SDGs at scale. For example, the Innovative Finance Facility for Climate in Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP, is a new mechanism aimed at catalyzing climate financing for developing countries. Drawing in contingent finance guarantees and grant resources from traditional and non-traditional partners such as philanthropists. In total, the facility aims to mobilize as much as US $15 billion in financing climate finance projects. There is a growing call for G20 summit for multilateral development banks to evolve and improve, including efforts to integrate development and climate agendas. ADB has made reforms in this direction with the updated capital adequacy framework aiming to unlock $100 billion in new funding for our developing member countries over the next decade. This expansion in funding will be achieved through optimizing prudential capitalization and strengthening risk management frameworks. These resources will be mobilized to address the complex set of overlapping crises, promoting gender equality, and provide for basic needs despite the existential challenge of climate change. In closing, I would like to reiterate that the combined crisis faced by the region requires innovative and integrated solutions that tackle poverty and hunger through the climate lens. Achieving the sustainable development goals for a greener and more inclusive future requires vast amount of public spending, for which increased public revenues and new private investments are essential. We must harness the power of digital technologies and data access tools for catalyzing change and accelerating progress on SDGs. To that end, we need to make appropriate allocations for investment for digitalization across the region and facilitate interregional transfer of knowledge and know-how. There are many challenges ahead, but together we can forge a brighter, stronger, and sustainable future for Asia and the Pacific by accelerating equitable digital transformation for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Ms. Yasmin, ADB's Vice President for Sectors and Themes, for those special remarks. And now Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Secretary General of the International Telecommunications Union, will address us with special remarks via video.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my honor to address virtually the 80th session of this commission as we look at putting digital innovation at the service of sustainable development across Asia and the Pacific. Countries across this diverse region are at very different stages of their digital development journeys. Some are leading global innovators in areas like artificial intelligence, digital finance, and GovTech. Others find themselves on the wrong side of persistent and growing digital divides. ITU's latest figures show that about 66% of the population in the Asia Pacific uses the internet, which is in line with the global average. But it also means that a third of the region's population is still unconnected. Those who are online may not feel safe, struggle to afford connectivity, or simply lack the skills that they need to use and benefit from digital tools. And that's why one of the defining challenges of our time across the Asia-Pacific region and around the world is to align digital inclusion with the pace of tech transformation. This requires closing the gaps between the digital haves and the have-nots, especially when it comes to the transformation of least developed countries, landlocked developing countries, and small island developing states. I'm happy to report to this commission that we are seeing some progress. We're seeing it through initiatives like Smart Villages and Smart Islands, where the efforts of 15 ITU member states and partners are bringing digital education, healthcare, e-commerce, and digital governance tools to remote communities in Pakistan and Vanuatu. We're seeing it through GIGA, the ITU UNICEF initiative to connect every school on the planet to the internet. And that has been helping nearly 400,000 students and teachers in Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan to get online. And we're seeing it through the UN Early Warnings for All initiative, which aims to protect everyone on Earth with an early warning system by 2027. ITU leads on Pillar 3 of this initiative, helping to ensure that warnings and alerts reach communities at risk as quickly and efficiently as possible through a range of communication channels. Early warnings are critical in a region with high population density along its many coastal areas, all hit increasingly hard by the impacts of climate change. Colleagues, universal connectivity and sustainable digital transformation are ITU's two strategic goals. They are my top priorities and catalysts for progress with unprecedented potential to help us achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. But no one entity can take on all these priorities alone. And that's why ambitious and innovative platforms like the ITU-led Partner to Connect Digital Coalition leverage the power of collaboration to support meaningful connectivity and sustainable digital transformation in your region and across the world. Many ESCAP member countries are at the heart of these efforts, and I encourage you to make a pledge if you haven't already. So far, we've mobilized over $46 billion US. But we need your help to reach our target of $100 billion by 2026. With just a few years left to achieve the SDGs, and with the UN Summit of the Future coming up in September, there's so much more that we can do to leverage digital innovation for sustainable development. The third UN Conference on Landlocked Developing Countries and the fourth International Conference on Small Island Developing States are two more opportunities for us to step up our collaborative efforts. ITU looks forward to strengthening its collaboration with members and partners of ESCAP at this critical moment in history. Because digital isn't just at the top of the global agenda. It has become the agenda. Let's work together now to make digital the single greatest force redefining sustainable development across the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you to ITU's Secretary General, Ms. Bogdan Martin, for those special remarks. And now on to our roundtable on socioeconomic outlook, emerging challenges and solutions. Welcome again to all three of our distinguished panelists. And we're all eager to hear what you have to share, so let's get to it. My first question is for Professor Kwa. Professor Kwa, as Dean of the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, I'm sure you have a lot to share with us. Now, global megatrends such as climate change and digitalization have immense implications for the pursuit of inclusive and sustainable development. How can governments seize the opportunities and manage the risks? And what should be the top 3 economic policy considerations?
Thank you, moderator, for a brilliant morning in introducing the topic. Excellencies, distinguished heads of delegation, thank you very much for the opportunity to share some thoughts on the global situation that we find ourselves in. As you say, moderator, there are risks, but there are also wonderful opportunities. And the theme that we're here to discuss is leveraging digital innovation. So I'd like to take the 3 points that you've mentioned and speak to this, exactly this issue. I think the world and our region is unquestionably facing serious headwinds in our efforts for poverty reduction, income improvement, growth and development. So my first point is that even as we face these headwinds, we should not make our situation worse than it needs to be. We need to fully capitalize and leverage the opportunities that are available. One way in which we might be making the situation worse than it really needs to be is often a lack of clarity in the way when we announce policies, when policymakers articulate visions, a lack of clarity between 2 goals. A first is a growth strategy. What is it that we need to improve our circumstances? And the second is the treatment of the symptoms of poverty and other social failures. We need to scrupulously and scientifically separate the 2 of these. We need to tell our populations not to conflate and confuse these 2 objectives. So one thing that we desperately need to do to repair or to treat the symptoms of the social ills in which we to which we have to deal are our treatments of poverty, inequality and inclusiveness, and social mobility. Those are challenges that we need to deal with, regardless of whether we've got digital innovation opportunities. We should deal with them, but we should not pretend that they come hand in hand with the other challenges that we've got available. Our growth strategy needs to be scrupulously focused on how we improve our circumstances, what vision we have for jobs creation, what vision we have for lifting all of our populations. We need to separate these 2 things, a growth strategy and a treatment of symptoms. Digital innovation provides us a framework in which we can take care of these 2 clearly. So my first point is that we need to be clear about the problem that we're solving. That leads quickly to my second point, if I may. And this is that we need to engage more in truth-telling so that we have the trust, we can earn the trust of those that our political leadership needs to lead. Digital innovation provides us a wonderful opportunity whereby which we can formulate growth strategies. But digital innovation and its success hinges as much on social acceptability as it does on continued innovation. And here, moderator, a big challenge that we've got is that a lot of political leadership has not been able to cultivate that trust in our populations. Let me suggest some statistics that are helpful in this. Across the Asia-Pacific region, 60% of the people surveyed by the Edelman Trust Barometer, a global group that studies the development of trust across societies, 60% of people surveyed in the Asia-Pacific region consider technical innovation mismanaged by a combination of governments and industry. We have not been able to engage in sufficient truth-telling to bring people on board. This lack of acceptability will be damaging to future innovation. 70% of people surveyed in the Asia-Pacific region consider technical innovation changing society too rapidly and in ways that don't benefit them. If political leadership believes that we can leverage digital innovation to improve the well-being of our people, we need desperately to do a better job at engaging social acceptability. Moderator, if I might end with my third point, which is the dangerous global environment that we find ourselves. World order is fragmenting and fracturing. If we want to leverage digital innovation and improve digital trade, we've got to have trade acceptable in the first place. And the global economy, world order fracturing because of geopolitical competition and rivalry is not encouraging a productive global trading environment. We, the members of the community in the Asia-Pacific region, need to exercise an agency in helping bring the global economy and world society back together again. If we don't have that, we don't have trade. If we don't have trade, we don't have digital trade. In the Asia-Pacific community, our nations and economies are small. For small nations, we tend to produce too much of what our people can and too little of what our people need. It is trade that will repair that, and we need desperately to repair the global economy. Those are my 3 points, moderator. Back to you, please.
Thank you very much. So we need to be clear about the problems to be solved, engage more in truth-telling, and also be conscious of the fragmenting and fracturing global environment. Thank you, Professor Kwa. I'd now like to move on to Mr. Nudali. Mr. Nudali, as COO of ITFC's Trade Solutions Complex, how do you view the prospects for digital trade and investment across the region, considering the theme of leveraging digital innovation for sustainable development? And how can we further benefit from digital innovations for tackling emerging trade and investment challenges?
Thank you for having me today here, and I would like to express my appreciation to the ESCAP to allow me to address this distinguished audience in this important occasion. I would say digital trade and investment hold immense potential for the economic growth and development across the Asia Pacific. Indeed, this region is home to some of the largest dynamic economies and vibrant digital ecosystem in place. In fact, I would say Asia Pacific has a 9% growth in digitally derivable export from 2015 to 2022. That the region outpaced the average in the world of 6.8%, and this has reached in value of $958 billion for that period. So in many countries, I would say in general, an increase of 1% of digital trade in value corresponds to 0.8% in the real GDP growth per capita. So this is quite a significant figure. So with the rapid adoption, I would say, of digital technologies, there are significant opportunities created to further enhance trade and development. So it would be through digital channel, and digitalization would serve as a key enabler, I would say, for a conducive business environment and contributing to boosting trade and investment. I would say trade is an integral part of the development, right? So one of the key benefits of digital trade is ability to bring inclusiveness for the medium and small enterprise into the global economy. It will be lower the barrier to entry for the MSMEs, particularly, I would say, in logistics, as well as payment settlement, enabling them to participate more actively in the global market, as well as reaching region beyond what would be the traditional business area. So digital platform provide SMEs access to global consumer-based supply chain network, and they offer supply-demand matching, help to increase turnover, stock turnover, allowing them to scale up the business efficiently, as well as it is crucial for them in consideration that MSMEs represent 90% of the business in the region and 70% of employment in most of the economy in the region. I mean, these are figures that we all know about. Next, I would say beside that, artificial intelligence is going to play a big role in the digital landscape, because it actually helps in anti-money laundering fight, bring KYC clients on board easier. So it is allowed to reduce the operation pressure on the back office of the business, like in financial institutions, like credit and risk. Additionally, digital technologies such as blockchain, I would say, have the potential to revolutionize supply chain management, thereby increasing transparency, traceability, trust, at the same time reducing fraud, and speed up, therefore, the movement of goods. So, in my opinion, there are 5 key areas that policymakers in the region should focus on to reap benefit of digital innovation. First one is to tackle the regulatory framework, so establish clear and transparent regulatory framework for digital trade investment. This will include to address issues such as data privacy, cybersecurity, intellectual property rights, e-commerce regulation, in addition to recognition and enforceability of digital signature, digital document, paperless trading that would be recognized at the court of law. Investment in digital infrastructure. We need robust digital infrastructure, including broadband network, Internet of Things, and digital payment system. These are crucial to widen access to digital technologies and in enabling seamless cross-border transaction. Promoting skill development, promoting the digital literacy is essential to empower individuals and businesses to fully leverage on digital technologies. This includes investment in education, training program, focusing on digital skills, such as data analysis, e-commerce management, and cyber security. Thirdly, interoperability, enhancing interoperability between different digital platforms. This will require international cooperation, standardization effort to ensure compatibility across diverse digital ecosystem. The ICC, the International Chamber of Commerce, established the digital standardization initiative in order to set and promote trade digital standards, which will eventually connect many of the existing digital islands. Lastly, to encourage public-private partnership. Collaboration is very important between government, businesses, and other stakeholders to essentially drive innovation, address emerging challenges in digital trade and investment. And public-private partnership, I would say, can foster knowledge sharing, facilitate technology transfer, and promote the best practices in digital governance. So these are the five areas that I've just mentioned are quite important for policymakers and our political leadership to take into account. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nudali, and it's encouraging to hear that you see immense potential for digital trade and investment. All right, let's move on and look at the economy in more detail now with Ms. Somarat Jantarat, Executive Director of Boy Ungpakon Institute for Economic Research. So Asia and the Pacific have showcased remarkable economic resilience during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. Given the economic landscape with subdued job creation, high inflation rates, and substantial uncertainty, what transformative pathways do you feel are most pertinent to achieve resilient, inclusive, and sustainable development?
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll try to address this question from a micro perspective now, and spend my good time trying to advocate the need to shift gear or perhaps emphasize policy priorities into addressing transformative pathway, especially on ensuring inclusive and sustainability of rural and agricultural transformation. As you may know, agriculture has been a safety net for the region's poor as well during the COVID pandemic. And over the past 20 years, rural and agricultural transformation has been one of the key engines to drive down inequality and poverty. And we know more than 70% of the region's poor live in rural and rely on agriculture. It has been remarkable over the past couple of years, but now we all know that agriculture also comes with cost. Agriculture leads to environmental degradation, environmental sustainability issues. They consume more than 80% of water withdrawable in the region. They are also accountable for more than 30% of greenhouse gas emission. Apart from that, recently we have seen agricultural productivity growth stagnant all across Asia. And over, the contribution to GDP of agriculture has been declined substantially. So I guess it comes to the point where the agriculture and rural transformation seems to be in the verge of, on the one hand, facing challenges from a lot of mega trends. On the other hand, there's also a lot of opportunities. Digital transformation, technology innovation would be one, right? So first, why agriculture tend to be in threat of the mega trend, right? So first of all, we know that people are living in rural and agriculture are facing aging issues, and they age even at a faster rate than the global or even the national level, right? Agriculture also faced shortage of labor because of the urbanization trend on the one hand. Climate change and climate crisis dampen agricultural productivity, as well as induce higher frequency and intensity of disaster shocks that affect crop use and crop production throughout the region. Right? Apart from that, the changes in trends of food, as well as the preference in terms of safety food, more sustainable preference, also make smallholder farmers feel harder to access to market, especially for those smallholder farmers that are not adept yet to the global trend, right? So these are threats from the megatrends, but at the same time, it comes with opportunity. We see rising food demand from growing population, from urbanization, where the supply itself has not been able to reach the excess demand of food. So there's market opportunity there. And more importantly, there's a good development in terms of technological and innovations that can improve agricultural productivity, that can improve value added to agriculture, improve access to credit or market, and more importantly, even provide innovative way to do some risk management strategy as well, right? So with that, the key question is what are priorities or what are policy changes that would need in order for the Asian country to try to navigate these challenges and bring together this opportunity to make sure of the inclusive and resilient growth. So I would suggest there will be at least three priorities that we need to focus on. One, we need to do better in terms of enhancing competitiveness of smallholder farmers in the region. We all know that in our region, majority of farmers are smallholders. And so the key problem is the lack of access to or ability to adopt this technology. So in order to improve the competitiveness of the smallholders, farmers, and SMEs as well, we need to focus on, ensuring of good access to property rights, land right, for example. We see good success case of land reform in many countries in the region already, China, Vietnam, for example. But there are other countries that are still facing this challenge. We need to ensure access to water and irrigation, but at the same time, we need to also come up with good pricing scheme to make sure that the use of water is efficient, right? And more importantly, we need to scale up ability for smallholders to adopt technology, to adopt climate change adaptation methods, which has not been progressed at all, right? Clearly, there's a need of the institutional redesign of how can we incentivize smallholder farmers to adopt this technology, to do some agricultural extension that allow them to get to learn and adapt accordingly. So that's the first one. And toward the first one, to make smallholder competitive, we need to also invest in human capital, digital ability, as well as improving education for rural and agricultural households. The second priorities, I think, is to put in enhancing, in making commercialization possible for smallholder farmers in the region. This include improving access to market. Digital technology will come in handy, but more importantly, improve access through road, logistic, and improve access or development of supply or value chain throughout the region would be key. But more than that, I think there's also the need to improve investment climate so that it encourages business to come into the region, to invest, to partner with our smallholder farmers, as well as to enhance or strengthen the farmer institutions, cooperatives that allow smallholder farmers to come together and learn together using social learning so that they can get access to market through that, right? And last, I think policy priority need to be put in enhancing environmental sustainability as well as climate smart or climate resilient agriculture. This would include institutional design to incentivize adoption of environmental friendly agriculture, adoption of climate change adaptation, but also the design of safety net programs that allow for effective buffer of shocks that might be beyond the capacity of the households to be able to manage. Right? So these are three policy priorities that are not new at all, right? But it has not yet reached the point of satisfactory. And in order to achieve these three policy priorities, I think they would also need some sort of policy and institutional design, or the rethinking of at least three enabling factors that can make sure that three priorities can be reached. One, we need to be rethinking about how to do agricultural policy in our region that is now highly focused on unconditional assistance to farmers, create bad incentive for farmers to adapt or to even help themselves, right? How do we make sure that policy is designed such that it gives productive safety net in the sense that it both buffer the shocks, but at the same time incentivize farmers to also do productive activities as well, right? The second thing is to think about how we make use of financial system better to allow for good support of smallholder farmers to be able to adopt technology, to be able to adapt to climate change, right? And lastly, I think we need to rethink and strengthen, I guess, the international cooperation, just to ensure that we have integrated markets, to ensure that we have good development of the region's supply chain network, and also we can reach the effective risk management strategy together. So that would be my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Somara, for that very comprehensive micro perspective and the reminders of things we need to, that are the reminder of things that are not new, but the priorities that we have, for instance, for enhancing competitiveness of smallholder farmers, making commercialization possible for them, and things that we have to rethink, like international cooperation. All right, I have actually been asked to end a bit earlier, but we do have time for a second round. And since Ms. Somara gave us such a comprehensive answer, I'd like to now give the opportunity to our two gentlemen panelists as well to add a bit more. So let me ask Professor Kwa first, and also allow me to remind you that we have about 3 minutes each. So, Professor Kwa, you touched upon several important policy issues, but implementing them requires large fiscal resources. Could you highlight 2 key policy strategies to mobilize additional resources in the face of rising public debt and borrowing costs?
Okay, the last thing I want to do is worsen our balance sheets throughout the economy, and there are many of us who are already working under quite strained resources, our governments least of all. But we do need fiscal space to put in place actions that will create the kind of trustful, inclusive social development that will be critical for the acceptability of the digital space that we want to build. We can continue to be innovative, but if we don't get people using these things because they don't trust us, political leadership or scientists or truth-telling, nothing is going to happen. So I think we need to be able to rebalance those considerations. So that would be my suggestion. We do need to strengthen the fiscal space, but we can't do it in a way that immiserizes the populations around us. Thank you.
Thank you for that very concise answer. Right, moving on. Mr. Mudali, you've promoted Central Asian trade connections. Could you share some good lessons and practices that would benefit other Asia and the Pacific governments and also international development partners? And we still have time, so please feel free to elaborate.
Yes, thank you. I mean, talking from a trade finance practitioner, I would say the International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation has recognized for a long time the role of digital innovation in driving positive change, inclusiveness, and reshaping the boundaries of development across different borders and different sectors. I would like to shed light on three transformative initiatives that was taken up by us through our mandate of working trade finance in region coming from Asia to Africa through Middle East. One of them is we're facilitating trade finance through digital platform. For example, we have done the first, cross-border digital letter of credit from a bank, commercial bank in Bangladesh to import fertilizer from North Africa, a country like Tunisia. We've been able to, using digital solution, to get an LC issued, advised, received, done completely within 38 minutes, things that would have taken a few days in the past. So these are type of technology where we use a financial arrangement using blockchain technology, allowed fast processing, more or less like an online processing, allowing therefore to act as a catalyst to stream trade processes. Secondly, we have empowering SMEs through digital solution. We have launched a number of what you call the export launchpad program. We've done it also in Asia and Africa. These are technical tailored or customized technical assistance program for mainly women-led SMEs to adopt digital marketing and trade solution aimed at empowering SMEs, enabling them to navigate the complexities of international trade with confidence and resilience. So, and thirdly, capacity building for digital transformation. We recognize the human capital lies in the heart of sustainable development. And ITFC has done a number of flagship programs in Africa, in the Middle East. One is called the Arab Africa Trade Bridge Program. The other one is Aid for Trade for the Arab state, where we had target integrated trade solution, providing training, workshop, trade-related capacity building intervention that are actually geared toward to navigate digital landscape with confidence and proficiency. Lastly, I would like to mention that we will be launching shortly a flagship program in Central Asia, which is called Trade Connect Central Asia. That will be launched in early May in Uzbekistan. This program will allow us, therefore, to create trade, regional economic cooperation among the countries in Central Asia, between themselves and with the rest of the world. And digital trade and solution is a cross-cutting theme throughout this flagship program. And also, in the context of that Trade Connect program, I'm proud to announce that we are partnering with ESCAP in launching a project under this flagship program called Boosting Export Through Foreign Direct Investment in Central Asia, which will help aim at boosting export through FDI, thereby increase cross-country engagement in the target country, and sector for intervention include also a digital economy and digitally service export orientation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we have just a few minutes left. If there's anything you'd like to add, Mr. Malat, anything else? No? Professor Kwa, anything additional?
You had asked about fiscal space and what we can do. I think one thing we have to keep in mind is that the things that we need to repair in the global economy in our region, they'll be a lot cheaper to do now and do quickly than let them pile up for the future. So the aversion that we have to improving government finances is something that needs to be taken head on now, because it'll be a lot more costly to try and come back to them in future. Thank you.
Thank you. And unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. I've taken a lot of notes. I have a lot to go over when I go home. I want to thank our panelists, Professor Kwa, Ms. Sombarat, Mr. Nudali. Thank you for your illuminating comments and expert insight. I'm certain you've sparked ideas today, and this will all lead to fruitful discussion over the course of the next few days. Distinguished delegates, thank you for your kind attention. It has been my pleasure to be your moderator for this morning's roundtable. May I now invite the chair to resume the proceedings. So, thank you to all speakers for those useful insights. May I now call on the Secretary of the Commission to make an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and a very good morning to all distinguished delegates. I'm pleased to announce that this year we have a record number of side events which are being hosted by member states and development partners. And the side events for today will be shown on the slides here on the screen, and you find the information also on the website. Most of these meetings are held in a hybrid format, and participants can also join online. And the link to join online is provided on the website, and we encourage all participants to join these events. In terms of lunch, I would like to inform you that all participants, that in addition to the regular catering services available at the International Cafeteria and the Coffee Corner on level 1, we will have the Deutung Festival, which is specially brought in for the Commission session, where delicious and authentic Northern Thai food and products made by Northern tribes and communities are on offer. So please do visit these local vendors and enjoy the Thai culture in the garden area on the ground floor. I'm also pleased to remind everyone that the Executive Secretary and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Thailand are hosting a reception for all participants at the Commission after the conclusion of this afternoon session here outside the ESCAP hall, and all delegates are cordially invited to join. As soon as we close this morning meeting, there will be an inauguration of the Digital Innovation Fair just outside the ESCAP hall, and the fair comprises many booths from countries and stakeholders, all showcasing various digital innovations. All participants are invited for the opening of the fair and encouraged to visit the various booths throughout the week. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Secretariat. At this time, we shall break and reconvene this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Bangkok time to pursue the discussions on the agenda item 2A. The meeting is adjourned.